Hey, Jeffrey. Happy.
Hello,
What are we
hello,
on?
Amy. Yeah,
Thursday.
it's Thursday. It's 54 days, less than 8 weeks.
How is that possible?
I know it's just going so fast.
It is, but here's the good news. You and I know this, but in politics, what is it like? An hour is like a week, and a week is like an hour. There's just this
Yes.
very complex, weird dynamic of time. So as people are listening to this, they're like, it's too late. No, it's not too late.
No,
Listen to
no.
what we're
Literally, things can flip on a switch. I mean, it could go either way. It could go great for us, or it could just completely hit the crater. So,
And the other thing to remember too is I wouldn't be surprised if it really is like the grassroots effort that's almost like the secret sauce in all of this. Because only so much money, right? Even millions and billions can buy TV commercials. But things are so rough, and they have been in Michigan, that I think that's the significance of what we're doing now, you and me with these and what everybody's pitching in on the grassroots side, is because as we can talk to our neighbors more and we can say, but did you know, wouldn't that be so awesome if Gretchen's like, I did not know that was out there. Oh yes, we are waking up. So
yep, it's all starting and it's all getting there. And I mean, the big news is across the country, there's already been like 500 people have voted.
wow.
Yeah, because North Carolina has started. They're the first state to start voting, so they have started. We start in about a week and a half here, and it's now a sprint to the finish. We
Wow.
got 54 days.
54
So
days. Okay, so thanks to everybody for joining us. Jeff and I just wanted to give just an update on some of the things we're seeing. We love hearing from you guys. We love like your suggestions and your ideas. Please share this video. If you've noticed in the group, we are really eager to, I mean, we're a motley group of grassroots, those of us that are behind the scenes, just love America. And our hope with this group is not only will it inspire you to take action, but it will also equip you to like put this information into more people's hands. So make sure you're tagging friends, but even more so, one of the questions we asked, I think it was last night, is what county are you from? And that's very strategic. And we hope that you guys will lean into that, because take time every day or a couple days and scroll through to see who's in my county. Like, let's say, you live in Oakland County, but your best friend lives in Kent County, and you see someone that's chimed in saying, hey, I'm in Kent County, tag your friend, right? We've got to start connecting some of the patriot people together, because together we're better. So some of the things we want to talk about today is, Jeff, I'm going to throw the ball to you. Start us with like some of the headlines of what you were at an event last night, what you're hearing take place.
yeah, no. So I was at an event in Oakland County last night. There was somebody from Tudor Dixon's campaign, and I was really encouraged to hear that he was mentioning that Tudor's going to be in about like 6 different locations in the next like 2 weeks, and that was just on the east side of the state. And I saw somebody post about her going to Muskegon, I believe, just at the beginning of October. Then there's just all these different events that she's starting to attend. We saw that Matt Wilk posted that she's coming to in Livonia on Sunday, where just events are happening, but at the same time, we're just starting to, more and more people are getting involved. I was seeing there's a group in Macomb that I think is at the end of this week will have made 10,000 phone calls this week to just different candidates and everything. I mean, different voters to get them energized. We just got noticed that President Trump is coming back on October 1st to rally for the ticket in Warren. Yeah, in Warren. So it's going to be.
I need to listen to this too. Okay.
So it's like it's all coming together. We're all moving forward. We're all moving hand in hand here, and just doing what we can to make a difference. But yeah, I'm excited. It's getting that excitement back that people were starting to, after the primary. There's the downhill, just getting refreshing. We were exhausted, but now it's here we go. We got so much time.
And how many times have you and I had to have been told, Amy, you are not the norm, meaning your average citizen is still not paying attention to the elections. A lot of them will not pay attention until a couple days before. So, you know, if that's, I mean, that's just something to keep in mind. And probably everybody saw this, but let's also talk about the Mr. Biden that was here at the car show. And there was that wonderful picture. Did everybody see that? Which is such a great depiction.
He's just Whitmer and Biden are riding together. I mean, Whitmer can try. She can try to say that she is not with him, but they walked in hand. There was a question about if a reporter asked if she will support him in 2024. She tried to deflect, and then Congresswoman Dingell and Senator Stabenow came in and were like, no, we're fully 100% behind President Biden. And Governor Whitmer responded, I've been on the record and I agree. And it was, they are full. If you try to say that these people are not accustomed to the same agenda that's coming out of DC, then you're not paying attention, because they are fully, they are moving direction. They support 100%.
You know, and I think that's where, I mean, I have this sense, and I know you do, and a lot of us do, that we're living in these last few days that it feels like we're fighting for our life as a state. And I think for people that are watching this, or if you are watching it and you're like, yes, me too, there are probably, you have friends and family that don't feel that. And so I think in a way, we need to do what we can to remind people. Heather from our team has done some outstanding graphics that just take you back to like, oh my gosh, the gas station. Remember the gas station? Remember the grocery store? Remember when our kids had to play soccer with a mask? So one of the things Jeff and I are excited to share with you guys tonight or today is that we have more resources available for you now. We don't have a website, but Heather will drop in the comments a link, a Google Drive link, where we're loading up all the graphics that you guys can take and then save those to your phone, share, post away. But what we need help with is reminding your neighbors of what hell was like for a couple of years when Whitmer and the lockdown was in play. Any comments on that, Jeff?
It's just so important, because so many people in politics, it's so common that it is short-term memory, where if something happens after a couple months, it's going to forget. It's going to kind of, because other things happen, because life continues, and there's so many things that we've already noticed that people completely forget the 14 days to flatten the curve. It's like, I mean, it was just so bad, like destructive. And we just have to remind people that this was a choice by the governor to do this. We saw other governors make better decisions that worked out fine. And it was a choice to just send nursing home to nursing homes and all that stuff. These were choices. And we need to remind people that this can happen again.
That's what I was just thinking, Jeff. Like, what is to say? I mean, worst case scenario, right? But we've seen, and this is not Jeff and I arguing about the basis of the pandemic or anything like that. We're not doing that. We're saying, look at how our government leaders handled this crisis, the situation, how they stirred up fear. And just because they did it once and now life has moved on to normal, how can we for a second think that it may not happen again?
And I just see it, and I mean, because we like to say move back to normal, but we're not normal. No. There's things that have changed that we're never going back. And it's so sad that our children are not going to be able to experience the life that we had before this pandemic that happened. And unfortunately, what I see is that some people that want to transform our country are going to see that they were successful in some forms in 2020, that now they're just going to continue to push and try to find ways to continue to do that. And it's going to embolden them to want to continue to change our country.
Well, and this is the last thing I'll say on this, then we transition to like the proposal talk, just for some updates. But I will say this, and Jeff has heard my rants, but I will say how disheartening it is to see eager people get involved, but to do it with a lack of wisdom and strategy. And when you have when you have passionate Americans jump into the fray and say, I know what truth is, I'm going to do whatever I can to get you to hear me. What it does is it hurts the movement, and it hurts like your own credibility. And so not only that, but you take a new person that jumps in They go, you know, wild eyes blazing. They turn over the apple carts. They do everything. And so not only do they hurt their credibility, but they throw us off course. They give momentum to the opposition, because anytime there is foolish behavior, the opposition is like, there's a headline, there's a headline, there's a headline. So I think all of that to say, like, everybody's perspective is valuable. Everybody's convictions are valuable. But if we are going to win, we have to do it in the right spirit and with good strategy. Would you agree?
It's just good strategy, and staying on message is the most important. So something that I heard a speaker mention last night at the event and stuff is the Democrats know how to stay on message no matter what. They don't get off message. They figure out, they spend the time, figure out what message is going to resonate with the voters they're trying to target. And then they are the most strict on that message, whether it's the legislator or it's the media that is pushing it too. They all have the same talking points and stay on message. And one thing that I've seen us struggle with is we are so passionate, but then our passion pushes us to get off message when we know that there are certain pieces that are going to make it in the difference. And as long as we stick to those pieces, we are going to be able to be successful.
It's almost like if you had, which I'm not into archery, but if I was into archery, like, you have all these different arrows. And why would you use one arrow that, yes, it's a powerful tool, but you know that when you release it, it's not going to accomplish what you want? Why would you even pull that out of your bag? And your quiver, thank you. Told you didn't do archery. But I think, like, for this as well, and we can segue here to the proposal talk, because one of the things I wanted to bring up, I'll throw this out, Jeff, and then I'll let you take over the proposal discussion. Proposal 3, which we all are, you know, getting familiar with, about Proposal 3 that would make an amendment to the Constitution that will it will damage parental rights so badly. It's the RFRA, Reproductive Freedom for All. Did I get that right? Act. That the progressives, they're going to try to sell their audience as is abortion rights, but really it's not. It's just disastrous on so many levels. I think the golden-hearted conservative that cares deeply about the life issue naturally goes to that talking point to say this is going to expand abortion. But, and Jeff, you can speak to this better than I can. Actually, what my encouragement is to people is, don't launch with the life message. Do not, and it goes against everything within us. But what we need to do is, there's a lot of people, like, you could walk up to Jeff and I right now and be like, don't vote for Proposal 3 because it's going to hurt life. Okay, you've sold us, but we're already there with you anyways. But what if we are going to defeat this? You have got to address the people that are in that middle space, that are torn on the issue. And we've got to draw their attention not to the life topic, but to the parental rights and how this is going to whittle away their rights for the rest of time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it all goes back to 2 weeks ago, there was that Detroit news poll that it was like something, a majority of Michiganders supported the abortion part of it, but then they asked about just, do you support parental rights being involved? And 64% of Michiganders supported parents being involved in these decisions. So if we stick to that, we can win, because that's the thing that they don't want to acknowledge and they don't want to bring up. But their amendment says, parents, sorry, you're out of here. Goodbye. See you later. I'm a school counselor. I'm going to tell your child to go have an abortion or to do this, and they're going to go choose to do this. And you don't get to say. You don't even need to know. You'll find out. Maybe your kid will tell you in 10 years. So if we stick to that message, I feel that we can beat it and we can move the needle on that discussion. But yeah,
that's good.
But so about the proposals, though, I do want to address, we've been seeing some comments about Proposal 1. Proposal 1 is about term limits and financial disclosure. There's a lot of heated issues on it. There's arguments on both sides that I've honestly heard. We are not getting involved on it on AUM because Amy and I feel that we need to structurally find our energy and make sure that we are targeting the things that we look at Proposal 2 and 3 as the most disastrous proposals that could transform the state of Michigan into horrific it's hard to even explain it.
Yeah.
It's so scary to think about what could happen if either of those proposals passes, and it's just their next move. It's the leftist move to what they want to transform our state into. And Amy is really passionate about the life issue. As I ran Secure My Vote, I'm really passionate about beating proposal 2. That's where our focus is. That's why you've seen us kind of targeting more on the negatives on those, and there's other groups talking about proposal 1, but there's so much on this ballot, whether you are in local communities. I know Amy has a Jackson millage, Oakland County, we have a transit millage. There's so many different things that people are getting divided on their times, that we're trying to find the energy and direct people to where you can spend your efforts most efficiently, because we only have, as we know, 54 days, and really it's like 20 days from now tens of thousands of people will have voted. So it's coming up right now, and we have to use our energy, which is why we've had that form out there. If you are looking for a campaign to reach out to, if you are wanting to find who needs your help most efficiently, fill out the form that Heather's put in the chat. We will get you connected with the campaign that needs you the most right now in your area. And then you can connect with them and try to see if door knocking or that aspect. But that's why we're focusing on proposals 2 and 3. Doing a whole no campaign is easy, but we're just also trying to really, really educate about proposals 2 and 3 because of how disastrous they'll be, and trying to keep people on message about the parental rights in proposal 3, and then about the fact that they want to change it in our Constitution, that you'll never have to show an ID to vote ever again in proposal 2. So that's where we're putting our focus, also on the state Senate, because of how close it might be to flip. But that's just responding to something that we have seen in the chat a few times.
What we would ask too is that as you see people in different groups, or you're talking to people, or even in our group, if you see people saying, oh, well, I would get involved, but like my congresswoman is a Democrat, like I'm in a Democrat district, encourage them to say, we're sorry, but would you consider helping the school board race, right? Because these school board races, they're so crucial. And there could be somebody that just by your few minutes of making extra phone calls, you could really, make a difference there. Or maybe you're in a position of life, you're like, hey, I don't live in Macomb County, but that's so important. I'd love to go there to help. So what we need help with is really inspiring people to say, well, maybe you've never done it before, but come do it with me, and we'll do it together. So for our focus in this group, one, we want to put tools in your hands to help you turn around and inform other people. Jeff and I can only speak to so many, but what we need you to do is to think through, who do I know? What email list do I have access to? Even for those of you that say, I cannot leave my home right now, I'm in a position of life that I can't. That's okay. There are ways that you can help immensely just by making phone calls, by texting people, by contacting a campaign to say, hey, could I bake cookies for your volunteers? If someone would come pick them up, I'd love to do this service. You have no idea, just those little elements that could be of huge help.
And no matter where you live, you have races that are going to be contested.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say that you're in the northern Michigan, and I would direct you to a state house race in Traverse City that's possibly going to be helpful on the state house. I know we're not focusing on the house, but there might not be a Senate race up there. But if you want to go knock doors, I might I might connect you with Representative Jack O'Malley's race and say, hey, you got to, he needs some help in this race and all that stuff. And then if you're in Wayne County, there's a state Senate race there. There's lots of different contested school board races. There's a couple different things there. So no matter where you are, we will be able to help you connect with somebody. And even if you are, say, somewhere where there's no contested races because you are blessed to live in the most conservative community that is needed and everything, then we can connect you with a campaign to be like, hey, I'm willing to make phone calls. I'm willing to hop on the app that can make phone calls and make that difference, and we'll do that part. There's different things. There's things that everybody can step up statewide. No matter where you live, you can get involved.
Well, and I think what Jeff, like what we were talking about too, is we want to make sure people are using their time effectively. So you have to go work on the campaign that you feel compelled to. But if you guys are facing a campaign and you're like, okay, is this worth my time? Feel free to send us a message. Like we love freedom, we love America, and we welcome different parties into this discussion. But Jeff and I, like, we're part of the Republican piece because they represent our values. So we feel like those are the best ones in the season, right? To like help us be effective. So we can tell you, like, based on where you're living, if this is valuable. So here's a couple other things we want to run past you. One of the pieces that all of you, you may not even know what this is or know that this could be a huge solution. Voter guides. A lot of people, I think, probably don't even know about voter guides. Voter guides are an ideal voter guide is a comparative piece where it will list the candidates that are running, but then it will list their endorsements and their positions on issues. And what this does is it means it's not a campaign that is saying vote for my candidate or vote for me as the candidate. It's creating a document that's then putting it in front of the right audience. And when that audience looks at it and they say, based on my beliefs, oh, this candidate is endorsed by groups that I respect and issues that I respect. So voter guides are a powerful tool to put in the hands of people that go to churches. So Heather's going to get you some information, like links of different places you can reach out to. Michigan Family Forum, they are outstanding. They do a voter guide and it's supposed to be ready by like the 18th. What you need to be prepared for is this is how I would go about it. One, if you have a good relationship with your church, like your church leadership, your secretary, I would pick up the phone and I would call them and I would say, one, are you aware that there is an election on November 8th? A lot of them may be, oh, we haven't even talked about elections yet. So just say, I would just want to make sure it's on your radar. And then ask them, would you consider making this information available to your churchgoers? So things like, they might say, well, what do you mean? Well, it might mean making a mention in our bulletin that, hey, there's an election, and for information, you could go to michiganfamily.org. Or maybe it's reminding people to pray for elections. Now, some churches will be so amiable, they will say, would you set up a table in the back to have materials available? The organizations that we're going to point you to, you can go to them and say, okay, I have my church, they're ready to go. What do I need to do now? But for some of you that are like, you're really passionate about this community, or you're stuck home and you just need phone calls to make, start networking with people in your county to say, hey, Mary, I know you go to this Catholic church. Do you know if they would take voter guides? Hey, Bob, you go to this Presbyterian church. Do you think they might, right? So, but you could start picking up the phone and calling churches to say, hey, I'm just a member of the community. I want to be of service to you. The other second audience, and then I'll let Jeff chime in. The other second audience is one of my favorites, is the homeschool community. When I was growing up as a homeschool alum, homeschoolers were a golden ticket, meaning campaigns knew that they wanted to engage with homeschoolers because they would be awesome volunteers and advocates. And homeschoolers were eager to like help go do door to door. Things have kind of changed, I think, in the whole realm of the home educators. And here's the scary part, but this is where I'm hoping you'll help us. Homeschoolers have kind of shifted. The whole nature of homeschooling has shifted for good and bad reasons. But also, I think you have people that need an awakening to understand, oh, wait, this is why I need to get involved. And here's why. Homeschoolers need to understand Michigan might be one of the best places to homeschool right now. But I guarantee you, if Whitmer wins re-election, if we lose the Senate and we lose the House, you will lose your homeschool freedoms. They're coming after your freedoms. It's that bad. So where we need your help, if you have any connection with homeschoolers, please reach out to them and make sure they're aware. Anyways, Jeff, ball back in your court.
I think those are really important. And also to think about the businesses that you might be able to, and these businesses might, so churches usually have to stay nonpartisan or all that side, but some of the conservative businesses, if you print off, we have that great statewide path to victory graphic that was created. If you print off a couple of them and say, hey, the local diner that everybody in town comes into, and you can hand that, like you can say, hey, can I put this up on your window, or can I put this here on this, like somewhere I have a relationship with this owner and everything, and you can put that in. There's some of that, yes, if somebody just goes in and hits straight Republican ticket, that's going to hit there. But there's also races on there like the Supreme Court and then the proposals that's not voted on if you hit straight Republican ticket. So there's things that definitely we need to educate everybody about, and just having something like that type of a card that or graphic that can be at a business can make a difference too.
Basically, our material is your material, meaning if you see something here, ask us. We can maybe send you a PDF version, but print it out, go share it. And if you get a grocery store owner that's a proud American, they might even let you stand in front of their grocery store and hand out, did you know it's an election? Please, freedom matters. Consider this information. I think we need to get that creative. So before we wrap up, Jeff, any other like charges that you feel just with what you're hearing from leaders? I feel like things are super quiet. And I feel like even as someone who's very involved, that it's probably possible for people to feel like, oh, everybody else is doing stuff. But I know we have heard from Proposal 3 team, they really need people to help them do doors. So we will have that information available if you want to email us. Oh, and the other thing, and then let you kind of wrap things up. We are getting ready to launch an email list. So as Heather drops that link in there, it's the same link that you guys have emailed saying, hey, I'm willing to help a Senate candidate. We're going to start just for a season of time, making sure you guys are equipped with links, information, because this is just too important.
Yeah, no, it's so important. And it's just, I've been really encouraged by the energy, but we have to keep this up. We have to keep, so many different counties that I know of are having door knocking kickoffs this weekend, or they're just every single Saturday from now until election day. The GOP is having like meetings and all that stuff. They're knocking every day of the week for in the evenings. Like any time that people can give is where you can really get involved and help. And it doesn't have to be just door knocking. There's phone calls. There's sometimes sitting in the office and making the bags for the door knockers that are going out 2 days later. I know Macomb County does that where like Thursday nights they meet in their office and they make 2,000 literature bags for which is like, it's like 10 pieces of lit of each candidate. And then it goes to, so the door knockers can hand it out and with everything.
Putting signs together.
There's so many different things that you can get involved with. It's not just one thing, but we all need to be involved. Everybody has to step up. I really, really like what Amy says when, if you wake up November 9th and say, wow, Whitmer was just reelected. I could have done more. Right now is the time to make you not say that in 8 weeks.
Yes.
This is it. You can make that decision now. If you decide not to do stuff, then you can make that decision to say, okay, on November 9th, whatever happens, I'm just going to live with it. It might mean our children's future is destroyed. It might mean the state of Michigan can never come back. It might mean, so many different things. I hate to be negative on that aspect, but it's just, I just think about like, I really think about how if Proposal 2 passes, I know this is where I'm passionate, but then we're never going to have another free and fair election in the state of Michigan. And I will legitimately consider leaving the state of Michigan because I won't ever feel like my vote is going to actually count if Proposal 2 passes. So it's so important that we all have to step up now and get involved right now because our state is on the line. And if we work together and stay on message, we can do it.
Agreed. Americans unite for Michigan. We are better together. Jeff and I are still learning. We have so much to learn from all of you. And there is 1,001 things to improve on November 9th. And I think right now, if you look at us, just look at us as like, buddies in this effort. And we are trying to keep ourselves focused. And we also want to just keep us focused as a movement. So in summary, thank you for everything that you guys are doing. Please look over the links that Heather is dropping in the comments because we now have a one go-to spot for you on a Google Drive that's graphics you can share, save them, post them, email them. We also have one document that's going to have all sorts of links for you. We're going to have an email list starting. Share these videos. Also look for us on YouTube And we're also, Jeff and I are going to work to get this out like on Twitter and LinkedIn as well. We just need to let us know the questions you have. We want these to be worthwhile 30-minute conversations, but reach out to your churches, reach out to your homeschool communities. And if you need ideas and questions, do I trust this source? Do I not? Let us know. We are working to bring you quality content and a great experience because we have too much to fight for. So thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you to our team behind the scenes, and we look forward to talking to you all soon.
See everybody soon. Let's make this happen.